activity. Under their able guidance, 12 students have awarded already PhD, and presently 6 students are working under their guidance. In the administration, in the different type of academic session, they are always engaged. They have an more experience in the administration. Honorable sir is working in the academic council, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University. He is a member of finance and account section in Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University. Honorable sir is always engaged in the National Service Scheme Advisory Committee. They are always motivating the students. Sir is always act as a resource person. They have given so many lectures in the planning forum of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University as well as the other university of Maharashtra. Sir, they are continuously engaged, giving their opinion. They are called as a resource person in the different orientation course, refresher course of the different universities. Instead of that, they are always, means in the academic body, they are always busy. They are presently Senate member of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Committee, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad. They are also standing committee member in Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Aurangabad. Sir, they are life member of Indian Economic Association. Honorable sir is life member of Marathi Arthashastra Parishad. They are life member of Marathwada Economic Association. Honorable sir is ex Board of Study member of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University. They are ex secretary and treasurer of Artha Parishad, Marathwada Artha Parishad, Aurangabad, and always they are engaged. They are working as a member of selection committee constituted by different universities of Maharashtra. So this is the brief introduction of Honorable Co-Chairman, our guide, Honorable Dr. B.D. Khandare sir. Presently, they are working as a principal in LBS College, Partur. So I am very much thankful to the organizing committee that they give me chance to introduce our co-chairman. With this, I just wish all the participants very fruitful international conference. You will enjoy too much discussion on the various aspects of the new education policy, research, and all these things. With this, I just conclude my opinion. Thank you, one and all. Thanks.
Very much, Pradhan sir, for giving this introduction of Dr. Khandare sir. Now I request Principal of Partur College, Dr. B.D. Khandare sir, to share his word of wisdom.
Very good morning to one and all present here, and thank you for joining us the today conference on International Conference on Changing Perspective in Environment, Management, Humanities, Science and Technology. Virtual mode on 14 and 15 July 2022, joint organization organized by ICCEMST Marathwada South Shikshan Prasarak Mandal Partur, Lal Bahadur Shastri Senior College Partur, East Jalna, and Department of Bio and Biological Science, Mula Education Society, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Sonai, in collaboration with ICCEMST, Yuvraj College, Mysore. This conference inaugurated Honorable Dr. V.K. Deshmoop sir, Joint Secretary, Mula Education Society, Sonal. Our patron, Honorable Kapil Bhai Akash, Secretary, MS Marathwada South Shikshan Prasarak Mandal Partur. Patron, Honorable Uday Gadak Patil, Vice President, Mula Education Society, Sonai. Chief guest, Professor Dr. Satish Deshpande, Sir, Joint Director, Higher Education, Aurangabad, and Mr. Sartaj Singh, Punjab University, Chandigarh, Joint Organization Secretary, Dr. Rohit Pradhan Sir, Vice Principal and Organization Secretary, LBS Mahavidyalaya Partur, Dr. Rohit, Shankar, Yuvraj College, Mysore, Dr. Rajendra Dandavote, Art Commerce College, Sonai, and all participants. Changing perspective in management, environment, humanities, science, and technology. It is my pleasure to welcome you through the conference, introduce you to the speakers and delegates that have come from all over the country to share their knowledge and enhance our mental horizon. Today's conference has about 13 participants, 300 participants participating from more than 25 colleges across India, making this conference a truly international conference in spirit. This conference has the various challenges that our education system has faced over the years and has adapted to the changing technological trends in the country. This conference holds special value because this is the first conference of our college where the entire conference is taking place in a digital platform. Due to the changing time caused by the COVID-19, we encourage our participants to stay safe. As a result of which this conference will be the first of many conferences in the future that will be conducted remotely through the use advanced technology such as engaged reality and virtual reality. This conference hosts many events such as debates, paper publication, poster presentation, oral presentation, and other such knowledge enhanced activity for all the faculty, delegate, research students who have signed up for 2-day event. The major outcomes that we expect from this conference is the international framework for the changing education environmental system around the world. With this, I wish very warm welcome again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your fruitful guidance. Now I request Dr. Rohit Shankar to introduce Honorable Principal Dr. B.N. Yashoda Madam. Request to introduce Principal Dr. B.N. Yashoda Madam.
Yes, please try. Hello, sir. Sorry.
Collaborating an international event like this. My sincere thanks and congratulations to all associated colleges who have taken a initiative and making this conference as possible. Honorable Dr. Satish Deshpande, Honorable Dr. V.K. Deshmoop, Honorable Kapil Akhat, Honorable Udyan Gadak Patil, and Mr. Sartaj Singh, Dr. Ravi Pradhan, Dr. Rohit Shankar, Dr. Rajendra Dandwate, Dr. B.D. Khande, Dr. Shankar Lare. I hope all the participants will get benefited with the outcome of this conference, and I wish them all the very best. Once again, I wish all the people who have made this conference to happen. Finally, I express my gratitude for giving me an opportunity to speak few words in front of you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you very much, madam, for sharing your words of wisdom. Now I take this opportunity to introduce the president of today's inaugural function, Dr. Vinayak Deshmoop. He is functioning as Joint Secretary of Mula Education Society, Sonai, and he has been the great source for all the academicians. So now I request Dr. Vinayak Deshmoop sir to deliver his presidential speech.
Morning to all of you. I really very happy to know that this is the first conference jointly organized by our college. So for that particular event, I congratulate Dr. Laure sir, IQSC coordinator Dr. Khedkar sir, Vice Principal of our college Dr. Jine sir, and the coordinator of this particular conference Dr. Dandavate sir. Because after COVID, this is a really very good source for us to have the online events like this, and that really save the time, the most important thing, as well as the financial resources. So on this occasion of International Conference on Changing Perspective in Environment, Management, Humanity, and Science and Technology, I welcome Dr. Satish Deshpande sir, Joint Director, Higher Education, Aurangabad Region. Dr. B.N. Yashoda Madam, the Principal of Yuvraj College, Mysore. Dr. B.D. Khandare sir, Principal of LBS Senior College, Partur, District Jalna. As well as the Principal of our college, Dr. Laure sir. Dr. Dandavate sir, Dr. Pradhan sir, and all the delegates. See, as Dr. Deshpande sir has spoken in his speech regarding the new education policy, the rural colleges such as Partur or Sonai, we are far away than the urban colleges where the development are taking very fast, and the rural area colleges, they are not that much aware regarding this. But just because of this type of conferences, they will come together with the urban area colleges, and the exchange of thought will take place in this particular conference. See, though our college is in rural area, I am very much thankful to our patron, Yashwantrao Gadak sir, the president of our society, Mr. Prashant Patil Gadak, Vice President Udayan Gadak, for providing a very excellent facility for our college. Because of that only, in last NAC cycle, we got the A grade, and the coming cycle, we are hoping to get the A+. And such type of conferences really help to have the development in the college as well as development of the student in the rural area. The research area where the colleges are lacking or somewhat behind as compared to the research institutions, the urban area colleges, and that really matter because whatever the research at present is going on in every area, if you consider environment, management, humanity, or science and technology, that research is not that much helpful or beneficial to the society. And as one of the speaker has enlightened that particular thought, that whatever the research to be carried out in the colleges, it must be the society oriented. And I'm really happy to share with you that our Dr. Laure sir, the principal of our college, he had developed one of the patented machine, I can say, or his project regarding the development of the liquid fertilizer with the help of this particular the various waste material in the campus, and that will help to the development of the new technology, and also it will help our student to know the various startup area where we can have the research. So I hope that this particular conference will help to initiate or enlighten such type of ideas in the mind of delegates as well as the student as well as the faculty member to divert their research to the research area where the society is really benefited. So with this, I'm thankful to the both colleges, that is Mysore College as well as Partur College, for having collaboration with our college, and they initiated this particular jointly organized virtual mode conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing the vision of Mula Education Society and enlightening this inaugural function. Now I request Dr. Rohit Shankar to propose the vote of thanks.
Hello, everyone. A very good morning to all of you, respected delegates and participants. Indeed, it has been such an wonderful occasion and an honor to me to be part of this international conference. And I'm glad to be here to present my vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to take a name of the three host institutes, that is Lal Bahadur Shastri Senior College, Partur, and Arts, Commerce, Science College, Sonaital, and also our own Yuvarajas College, taking an initiative to bring all these colleges together, though they are located in different places, and hosting this international conference like this, and also bringing all the academicians to one platform and benefiting the young researcher as well as the students. It's indeed a great effort, and my applause to the all host institutes. And let me make this vote of thanks very simple. And I thank our chief guest, Dr. Satish Deshpande, sir, the Joint Director, Higher Education, Aurangabad, for his inaugural speech, and also participating as a chief guest. And I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the Honorable Dr. Vinayak Deshmoop, sir. He has spoken very nice words about the conference and the effort made by all these three institutes. And thank you so much, sir, for your nice words about this international conference. And also, I thank our patrons, Honorable Kapil Akat and Honorable Uday Gadak Patil, for their participation in this international conference inaugural function. And also, I extend my gratitude and heartfelt thanks to the organizing committee, that is Sartaj Singh, Ravi Pradhan sir, and also Rajendra Dandavate, who have taken so much pain and also hours of working to conduct this international conference possible. And also I extend our management and our college principals, Dr. B.D. Kandare, Dr. B.N. Ashoda Madam, and Dr. Shankar for encouraging us to conduct this type of international event, and I'm very much grateful and thank for them. And with that, I thank one and all who have been made time to come. And all the friends who are participating in the international conference. And I hope this event would be as successful. And following this, there would be many more events can be organized by these host institutes together. And thank one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rohit Shankar sir, for proposing such sweet vote of thanks. Now, with the permission of today's president of this program, I declare the inaugural function of this conference is over. The next session will start immediately. Thank you very much.
That's it.
Now the first session starts with the keynote address of Principal Dr. Abhay Khandagre sir. Here I am to introduce Principal Dr. Abhay Khandagre sir. First of all, I would like to congratulate Dr. Abhay Khandagre sir because newly he has joined as a full-time principal at Anna Saheb Wagire College, Otur district, Pune. Principal Dr. Abhay Khandagre sir has teaching experience of 27 years. According he has Chairman Board of Studies in Zoology, Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune, since August 2017. He is also the member of Academic Council, Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune. Dr. Abhay Khandagre sir has completed 3 research projects and has the publication of 23 research papers in reputed national and international journals. Principal Dr. Khandagre sir has attended 32 conferences at international level, which includes 2 conferences at France and United States of America. He has published 4 books. Dr. Abhay Khandagre sir has been awarded with Best Teacher Award by Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune, and other 5 different awards he has gained by other agencies. The most important award is TIAW World of Difference 100 Awards, awarded by United States of America. He has been resource person for different national and international conferences and webinars. He is also the member of editorial board and reviewer board of different international journals published from India and abroad. Now at last, I invite Principal Dr. Abhay Khandagre sir to start with the keynote address all the participants. Principal Abhay Khandagre sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for a very wonderful introduction. And I really thank my friend, Dr. Moin Sheikh, for introducing me. I also would like to take this opportunity to thank all the patrons of this conference, Honorable Deshmoop sir, Honorable Deshpande sir, Honorable Principal of ACS College Sonai, Professor Laure sir. Well, you have given me this opportunity to be a part of this wonderful session, which has been hosted jointly by at least 3 different colleges coming from 3 different geographical backgrounds, 3 different socio-economic backgrounds. So this in itself makes the conference very unique and wonderful. Well, I was when going through the title of this conference, well, I just saw like there are so many areas that this conference is going to address, which is indeed a very hot cake for the day. Environment, management, humanities, science and technology. When we are floating, when we are sailing in this boat called as interdisciplinary knowledge center. Like the new education policy, which has been very rightly pointed out, is make your things transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary. We will have to look into all these type of things. So I hope the PPT is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the acknowledgement. Well, we'll be talking for a while on vector management strategies and challenges. This vector, because being an interdisciplinary sort of conference, this vector is not the vector that we usually study in mathematics and physics. This vector is an biological vector, an organism which has an inherent ability of picking up disease-causing organisms from one source and putting them into another source, thereby spreading particular diseases. And we have just come out of the stage of the phase which the entire globe has witnessed, has suffered, and now they have, one can say, overcome the challenges of the disease which was called as COVID-19. It was a pandemic and it has literally shaken the foundations of nations. I always give emphasis on this one sentence. Each nation in the world has got enough power, enough ammunition, enough machineries to destroy any other nation in the world. Every nation in the world, most of the nations in the world, one can say, have power, have capacity, capability, machines, ammunitions to destroy any country in the world. But sadly, one has to admit, no country in the world has technology. No country in the world has technology that can save their own nation from diseases. And this was exemplified with the outbreak of the coronavirus, which seems to be quite simple these days. Nowadays, we are not much, challenged with it. We have taken our vaccines, and then we say now we are well immune to it. Now it's more or less like a common cold for us. But when it was in its phase, it has really shaken the world. Anyways, moving forwards, what basically is this entire concept? So there are several decades where we as human have taken efforts to get rid of arthropod-borne diseases. Arthropod-borne diseases, like we have airborne disease, waterborne diseases, we have arthropod-borne disease. Arthropoda is basically a group. It's a group, one can say. I'm not going much scientifically. It's a group of organisms wherein you have most commonly known as insects. Though insect is a very small part of arthropoda, this small part of arthropoda or the phylum or the group arthropoda, which is called insect, the population of insect is around 5,000 insects per human in the world. So we are not taking the entire arthropod into our action. We are just taking a small group of this large group called arthropod organisms, wherein you have these insects, in which I can name few like cockroaches, butterflies, headlouse, mosquitoes, houseflies, so on and so forth. They are all just insects, one small group, class of this major group. Now, if this one small group of organism can cause an havoc and a major public health problem, now just look at if more than one groups are involved, if we do not take proper care of them, if we do not maintain the ecological balance. When we are speaking of sustainability, are we really serious about it? And if we are, then we can always be at the forefront of keeping our population, here R means human population, away from arthropod-borne diseases or any other diseases for that matter. Now, public health problem has become quite severe. Now, there are so many reasons which we will check, but the very first and the foremost reason is uncontrolled population. We are speaking of uncontrolled population. This is complemented with another problems like deforestation, irrigation, and urbanization, environmental modification, and climate. We are now in the era called climate change. Now, when we say this is climate change, we have to be very important, because the term earlier to climate change is environmental modification, which we have already made it inevitable. Everyone is modifying the environment around himself, and thereby allowing such problems to prevail in the society. Look at the figure. Vector-borne diseases alone, they contribute to around 17% of global parasitic and infectious diseases, which is a very, very large number given by WHO. So, vector-borne diseases means the diseases that are spread by some biological agent like mosquitoes, houseflies, cockroaches. These three happen to be the champions to transmit diseases. So, vector-borne diseases, they basically contribute around 17%. More than 1 billion people of developing countries are at a risk of disease transmitted primarily through only one organism, that is mosquito. If you just take mosquito alone makes 1 billion people of developing countries, and we are also a part of a developing country, though we say we are slightly above the definition of developing country, but geographically we are put into a region called as tropical country, wherein these populations emerge out very fast. Zoogeography describes the natural distribution of vector species complexes. So that is what I was just saying, tropical, subtropical. These are the areas where you have these vector populations at their very highest, because they get an environmental climate suitable for their breeding, establishing their own populations, and keep maintaining their own populations at a relatively higher range. Climate is the major driver for public health problem emergence. Man-made drivers, which we have just spoke of, will modulate the distribution. The climate change, ultimately what we have is climate change and land use patterns. Land use pattern is a terminology that is very commonly used by students of geography. So what is this land use pattern, and how can this land use pattern be normalized so that the ecological cycles will be balanced? Now, this particular slide will just give you the human burden of the various or the risks of various diseases that are transmitted. Now, these are diseases which are majoritarily or altogether transmitted just by mosquitoes. And look at the number of countries. If you take malaria, number of countries with active transmission is 99. Population that is infected, okay, or what you can call it as at risk, this population is given in millions, and it is 265. Just understand it. At infected and at risk, you have 3,215 million humans who are at risk. We are just speaking of one disease, that is malaria. Let us go down the table and you will find how much severe this problem basically is, which we as an academic community should address. So this is one of the major things. There are so many things in this table, but then what is important for us is number of countries that are infected, and then what you have is the population that basically suffers. So this is one of the basic concepts that we have to know. The healthy years that is affected, the healthy year that is affected are around 45 years in case of malaria patients. Well, yeah, measures to reduce the population density. What can be done to reduce the density of such vectors which are really very serious for humankind? The very first point is source reduction, which, let me tell you, though it stands as a strategy, it brings with it lot of challenges. It is very easy to say source reduction, but it is very difficult to actually bring it into practice. Different forms of environmental management, engineering, modifications, and manipulations. Let me tell you, it is not the job only of public health workers, only of doctors, only of biologists. Source reduction can be very well done even by engineers, social workers, can be done by people, scientists from humanities background, from management areas, wherein they can put their knowledge into this one area which will keep mankind healthy. The second one is prey predator systems, wherein you have to know some biology, like if these are mosquito larvae, these are housefly larvae, which are the other insects or other predators which feed on them. Let us employ them. We have some microbial toxins, the toxins that are produced from microbes, bacteria like Bacillus thuringiensis, one of the basic examples of it, and then using it to control the populations. And then we have the most age-old method, that is chemical adulticiding. Now, wherein we try to reduce the vector longevity, we try to have a knockdown effect, then we try to have an indoor residual spraying, personal and community protection, like the government agencies, the GOs and NGOs, they take a survey of a particular village or a society, and then they come with some fumigation strategies all through the society, and they give a very good fumigation, and just after half an hour, the insects will return back. Though it is effective, it does not give you a long-term protection. Insecticide treated nets and materials, these are very well implemented, especially in the African continent, where malaria is really serious. Malaria is severe. Whoever goes to African region for any of the reasons, be it tourism, be it official visit, or be it maybe on some deputation, will have to take care of mosquitoes. Then housing improvement. The housing improvement is also very important. Of course, housing improvement does not come by choice. In developing countries, there are so many people who have to live in the way the house is built and the available house. They don't have any choice. But for those who have choice, can really take help of engineers, civil engineers, and develop a very good plan so as to avoid all basic stagnancy of water, and then using some pest control strategies during housing. And we even have genetically engineered mosquitoes to compete with the natural mosquitoes and to avoid the damage caused. Well, there are a few definitions which WHO had given. The first one was in 1983. And what was it? The utilization of all appropriate technological and management techniques to bring about an effective degree of vector suppression in a manner. See, there is no way a word vector killing is used. It is vector suppression, because we know, and we as human have to admit, we cannot eradicate any other insect, any other animal on the planet, okay, except for those which we have killed. We have killed for our own gain purpose. But if you speak of insect, I give you a guarantee, humans cannot eradicate even the single species of mosquitoes from this world. What we can do is just suppress their population. And this was the first time wherein an integrated approach was brought in, and that approach was technology and management techniques, wherein the points which were emphasized were economics, vector controls, technology, and output indicator was vague. Here the output indicator was vague. Will we really get the output of it? The next one was the targeted use of different vector control methods alone or in combination to prevent or reduce human vector contact. This was something to prevent or reduce human vector contact cost effectively while addressing sustainability issues. Now, this definition and this strategy addressed areas like economics, sustainability, flexibility, output indicator, that was transmission risk level, was also addressed here. Though we are trying to improvise our own strategies, the problem still persists. Now, there was a wonderful convention called as Stockholm Convention on POPs, that is persistent organic pollutants, that was somewhere signed in 2001 and made effective in 2004. That was basically to eliminate or restrict the production and use of POPs. POPs, the word persistent itself indicates the organic pollutant. The word pollutant is used here, and this pollutant is what we call as organic insecticides and pesticides. Now, this convention addressed all chemicals that we use as insecticides and pesticides as pollutants only for the reason that they are persistent and they remain in the nature, in the soil for years together. They enter into the food chain and food web and keep on damaging the non-target organisms. Now, this was something which was really wonderful, and with this, there was a limit on use of compounds like DDT, rather it is banned. The next one was implementation of suitable alternative products. Well, when you say don't use chemical pesticides, then what to use? What is it that we have to use? And what we have to use is an alternative product, alternative method, alternative strategies, resistance management strategies to reduce the continual effectiveness of these alternatives. So resistance management strategy was also thought of in 2004. Now, let me give you a very simple example. Whatever pest insecticides that are developed against mosquitoes and houseflies will remain active, will remain effective only for 2 to 3 years. Within 2 to 3 years, these insects become resistant to it, and the product that we are applying is of no use other than causing damage to human and his other livestock. So what is important is to study the resistant developing strategy in these insects. So here we will have to put a good emphasis on what is called as biochemistry, molecular biology, study of the genes which offer resistance to the insects. And can we manipulate it? Can we use some modern methods, modern technologies, and bring down the resistance of these insects so that the chemicals or the other products that we have developed would remain effective for a longer time. Then what we had was the Global Strategic Framework for IVM. IVM stands for Integrated Vector Management, again given by WHO in 2004. Look how wonderfully WHO is working in 1983, 1994, 2004, further in 2007. So every time they are studying the entire scenario and they come up with something new. Now, based on the WHO expert consultations responding to the demand from the member states, faced the problems. What was the problem? The problem was of increased vector-borne disease burdens. Now, this increased vector-borne disease burden is something that is bringing down the life expectancy, bringing down the way a human or the lifestyle of the human. Insecticide resistance was the second area, and social resistance to spraying and required to comply with the Stockholm Convention of POP. Social resistance to spraying. There are some chemicals which are otherwise banned, but even then they are used and they are at a critical level. So we will have to take care of all these things. The Global Strategic Framework for Integrated Vector Management has been developed both to address the deficiencies in vector control and to improve the efficacy, cost effectiveness, ecological soundness, and sustainability of that control. So deficiency of vector control, how can we do it? We have to address it that, well, we have produced something, we have brought something into market, but now it is not working. We will have to improve its efficacy. We will have to improve its cost effectiveness. And the most important word introduced was ecological soundness, because we ourselves are destroying the environment where we are living. More effective disease vector control will make a significant contribution to attainment of the Millennium Development Goal. Like we have Sustainable Development Goals, in which the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, based on that we have our national education policy. In the very same way, out of the 14 basic principles, health is one of the primary goals, which we will have to take care of. Integrated vector management is a process of managing vector population. We are not saying it is a process of killing or eradicating vector. In the entire PPT, in the entire literature about vector or insect management, you will have to please note that no one says eradication, because we are helpless. We just have to manage the thing and keep the show going. So it's managing vector population in such a way as to reduce or interrupt the transmission of disease. You reduce it or you interrupt it. And what are the characteristic features? Methods based on knowledge of factors influencing the local vector biology. That is what was rightly pointed out by Honorable Deshpande sir in the presidential address. Okay, so we will have to think of things around us. So we will have to be global, but at heart, we will have to think local. So unless we are locally oriented, we cannot have a particular thing. Like many a times, you know, we just pass on comments on the public health centers. Like, what are they going to do? The ASHA workers and whatnot people, they just go and move about in the Gram Panchayats and villages and all. But let me tell you, we will have to fortify their efforts. We will have to support their efforts, because that is the most important step which we as science students can do. Use a range of interventions, often in combination and synergistically used. Collaboration with, now see, use a range of interventions. Don't rely only on one method. Integrated vector management strategies will never advocate using only one method. Use 2, 3, 4 methods, link them together, tie up them together, so that they will for sure manage the population of vectors. The next one you have is collaboration with the health sector, collaboration with the public and private sectors. That is what I just spoke of, that locally we will have to think of all these things. Engagement of local communities and stakeholders. We will have to come down. We will have to work at grassroots level, because the problem is at grassroots level. You cannot sit in some very good AC halls and just speak of vector management. You will have to walk. You will have to go on the grounds. You will have to see the problem at the grassroots level, identify it. We will have to take surveys, and then we will have to bring about some regulatory and legislative framework. The IBM is basically based, and it should be cost effective, should have indicators for monitoring efficacy. You should get some indicators that, well, it is really working. If it is working, you are encouraged. If it is not working, you will have to monitor its efficacy. You will have to find out which method is lacking where and which management strategy is lacking. So these things we will have to do here. It should also it should also allow effective planning and decision making to take place at the lowest possible administrative level. Decision making is never done at the lowest possible level. But to address this problem, which is at the grassroots level, we will have to give some liberty, some sort of decentralized mechanism where decision making can be done at the administrative level, or at least we should have a performance-based appraisal in which we can appraise our own strategies. Advocacy, social mobilization, legislation, of course, it is very important, or else people would just throw out their wastes anywhere and stagnancy of water could be seen anywhere. So we require some hard regulation also. Collaboration with health sectors is also important. Integrated approach, evidence-based decision making. This sometimes we feel quite difficult because the evidences that are noticed at the lowest level, they do not reach the highest level where they are being taken. Capacity building is something which the academia can very well do. Capacity building is a terminology that has been constantly used in NEP, it has been used in RUSA and in all other areas where we have to deliver our best. So this is also an area where we can be very pivotal in building the capacity of capabilities of our students. The operational strategies, they may vary, but then of course the same terminologies you can see: social mobilization, regulatory control, collaboration, integration of non-chemical and chemical vector methods. So non-chemical methods should also be complemented with some chemical methods, integrate them with some mechanical methods, integrate them with some methods where some electricity is used, some trapping is used, and some genetically modified organisms are used. Something of this sort can be done. Evidence-based decision making has been, this terminology has been repeated at least 3 times in this presentation, just to indicate that it is really very important. Then WHO basically in 2008, the IVM is a rational decision-making process for the optimal use of resources for vector control. Optimum use, okay, this is really very important. IBM attributes are like cost effectiveness, intersectoral action, regulatory and operational methods, subsidiarity, evidence-based decision making, and sustainability. So all these terminologies will always be associated with integrated pest management or vector management because they are important. We will have to look into all these aspects to come up with some good strategy. Now then comes a very wonderful strategic approach. Okay, that is called Global Vector Control Response, GVCR, which stands from 2017 and goes up to 2030. We are in 2022. So this is basically applicable for us even today. As its 70th session, the World Health Assembly unanimously welcomed the proposed response. The GVCR outlined key areas of activity that will radically change the control of vector-borne disease. First, aligning action across sectors. You just don't have to think of one sector. Since vector control is more than just spraying insecticides or delivering nets, that might mean ministries of health working with city planners to eradicate breeding sites used by mosquitoes. Even if we just think of mosquitoes, you have city planning, like we have town planning, we have city planning, we have urban planning, we have perspective plans for development of a city. And when these plans are in action, just take a very burning example and issue of the heavy rains, because of which the government has given 2 days, 3 days holiday for the school children. The rains are heavy, that is fine. But where is our planning? Where is the water going? Why is it getting stagnant at places? Why is the gutter water entering into the households? Where is the planning? Is it an unplanned development? Is a very big question, not only for India, but for all developing and underdeveloped countries. So this is what is the very first point that has been addressed. Engaging and mobilizing communities. Look, even up to the age where we say that we live in the smart age, we live in E-age, we live in machine age, we live in the age of artificial intelligence. Even if all of this is correct, we are depending on engaging and mobilizing communities. We are not dependent only on engaging technologies, because emotional and a decision that has to be taken would be well taken by the people who are the sufferers or who are the beneficiaries in both ways, to protect themselves. Okay, I'm so sorry. To protect themselves and building the resilience against future disease outbreaks, enhancing surveillance to trigger early responses to increase in disease or vector population, and to identify when and why interventions are not working as expected. So surveillance is really very important, and as a few minutes before, I have used the terminology called, or used the term called ASHA workers. And these people, they really religiously do the work of surveillance. They do the work of mobilizing communities. They do the work of, like giving a good conceptual understanding about the problem. Scaling up vector control tools. Whatever tools that we are going to use, we need to scale them up. We need to have them in such a way that they cause minimum impact on environment. The driving force behind a growing insect in IVM include the need to overcome challenges. Okay, challenges experienced with conventional single intervention approaches to vector control, as well as recent opportunities for promoting multi-sectoral approaches to human health. So this is really very important, multi-sectoral approaches for human health. Every sector today works for human health directly or indirectly. and we will have to just bring them together as a driving force. What is the role of biologists? These are very simple roles which we as academicians can do. And similarly, we can have roles of management, role of engineers. This can even be role of academia to predict the likely vector problems, to identify the vector, to locate the breeding sites of vector, to test insecticide susceptibility, to assist in designing a control program. This can be done as a startup. This can be done by students as a startup, and this would be well appreciated under the schemes of Skill India, Digital India, and whatnot things. Only thing is, this has to address to the burning issues. Then surveillance monitoring of vectors. So we have routine surveillance, vector mapping. The geography students, the management students, engineering students, students who are good with GIS, and researchers, the budding scientists, they can always have their impact on this area called vector mapping, surveys, set up indicators, and data management. Because in no time, this is also going to be declared as a big data, like the genome sequencing and the things related to sequencing are now grouped into the group called as big data. The same way this is also going to be. So this would also be opportunities for the scientific community to make an impression in. And then these are the various ways which we have talked can always work in this particular area. Public outreach and education is something, vector surveillance, okay, community partnerships. These are areas which colleges can do. And these colleges may be rural or urban. Both of them have the same gravity to perform these activities. Okay, if not, quality control research and disease surveillance, okay, where you require some ethical permissions. But for the other three aspects, we can always give in our own impact and have a collaboration with some good agency to give our own I'm so sorry, there's a problem with the machine. Impression over integrated vector management. Okay. So we are coming towards the end. Now, this is what susceptible and resistance. In resistance, the resistance is for penetration, metabolism, site insensitivity. Like there are some agents, let me tell you, which I myself, well, audience, I ask for your apology. There is, it seems, some problem of moisture with my laptop. And so it is happening. The slides are switching back or forwards. So anyways, kindly bear with me. So susceptibility is something which is good. So the insect, we spray something that it is killed. But what is happening is the insects have an umbrella. The insecticides may not enter into it. The metabolism may neutralize it. And it is site insensitive, like some agents which are active, which are very much good in Europe, may not be good in the Indian subcontinent. So that is also one of the case. Now we have development of next generation green pesticides, reduced risk reducing pesticides, where the plant products, microbial products can very well be used with an aspect of nanotechnology involved into it, and try to have the penetration. Even if the chemicals penetrate, we will have to use a very less of chemicals for that matter. Okay. And well, I'm so sorry about it. Well, these are some of my research papers that I have done at least some 10-12 years back, where we have tried working with plant products. Now we are using nanotechnology also into it. Me and my research group, we are even working on the structural sensitization of the vectors, wherein the treatments of the very well known chemical agents and other products are given. We are also studying the resistance developed basically by the resistance developed by the vectors or insects against even the so-called eco-friendly products. So with this, I once again thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be with you, to speak with you on this topic, which I hope was of some use to the participants and the delegates coming from various faculties. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Within 1 minute, I can say if any participant has any query, you can ask within 1 minute with Principal Dr. Khandagre, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
On behalf of the organizing committee, I am thankful to Principal Dr. Abhay Khandagre, sir, because he has taken the subject, that is vector management, which is actually the burning topic for India as well as worldwide. So on behalf of the organizing committee, I am thankful to Principal Dr. Abhay Khandagre, sir, for sharing us and giving time, though he has the busy schedule as working as the chairman board of studies as well as the principal of one college. So thank you, sir, for giving us a suitable time. Thank you, sir, Khandagre, sir.
All your patrons and management, and especially Principal Dr. Laure, sir, to offer me this opportunity to be within this academic community. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now we will continue with the oral presentations. Mute करो. काय करायचं काय बोलत ते मीडिया प्रेझेंटेशन गुगल मीट. All participants are, I am requesting you to join for presentation. We have made the separate groups of each and every subject. You can join on these groups and start your presentation. At afternoon session, at 2 o'clock, you again join on this link for keynote address. Thanks.
Hello, Dr. Sir. This is Professor Dr. Atul More. Shall I join this? Shall I start my presentation?
ये अलर्ट थी ना 10 सवा 10
All the participants are requested. We already provided the link for group A, B, C, and D. The Google Meet link is provided on the WhatsApp group. Please join for the presentation to that group, because we are concluding this, and with this session with this link will again start at 2 p.m. So please join the link for session A, B, and C, and D respectively. All the participants who wants to present their paper, they can join their respective link and present the paper on that link given on the WhatsApp group.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Madam?
Yes, sir. Sir, this link is not.
Yes, madam. This
Not
link was
working.
only for the inauguration function.
Yes, sir. But WhatsApp group link is not working. I'm also joining, but not join.
Ma'am, we are about to start the link. We have
Yes, sir, you are already sending, but link is not joining within 10 minutes.
Ma'am, it's a request. Kindly wait for 5 minutes. We are on.
Okay, no problem, sir.
Within 5 minutes, it will be working.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Nice presentation and nice.
Hello.